It's happening again, but slower this time. The products you rely on every day are quietly vanishing from store shelves. No headlines, no viral videos, just quiet gaps where staples used to sit. From personal care to pantry items, the disappearance is creeping in, and most people won't notice until it's too late. In this video, we're exposing 12 everyday essentials that are becoming harder to find, and why you need to check your pantry before they disappear completely. Because if you wait until the shortages make the news, they're already gone. Shortages don't always announce themselves. Sometimes they start with longer restocks, odd brand gaps, or quietly rising prices. In this video, we're going beyond the headlines to show you 12 everyday items that are slowly slipping away, and why you should be stocking up now. These aren't luxury buys. These are the everyday essentials that most households use without thinking until they're gone. Let's break it down, item by item. Number 1, canning jar lids. Canning jars are everywhere, but the real shortage is in the lids, specifically the flat metal sealing lids that make home canning safe and effective. While jars can be reused for decades, lids are single use, and that's where the supply crunch quietly hits. As of May 2025, canning has surged in popularity again, driven by rising grocery costs and a renewed interest in food self-sufficiency. But the demand for replacement lids has outpaced manufacturing, especially for trusted brands like Ball and Kerr. In some regions, shelves are empty. Online retailers are imposing quantity limits or charging inflated prices. A single lid might not seem important until you're trying to preserve 40 jars of garden tomatoes and realize you only have 12 left. Without the lid, the jar is useless. It's the kind of supply chain issue that goes unnoticed until it's too late. Lids also have a shelf life. The sealing compound can degrade after 5 years, even if unused. So if you stocked up during the 2020 shortages and haven't rotated them, you might already be at risk. The solution? Stock strategically now. Lids are lightweight, inexpensive, still around $4-6 per dozen, and don't take up much space. Vacuum-sealed packs or bulk buys from reliable prepper suppliers are smart moves, especially if you plan to preserve your own food this summer. Don't wait until the canning season hits full swing and the shelves get wiped again. Even if you're not canning now, in the future, you will be grateful to have a stash when inflation, crop issues, or grid failures make home preservation a necessity. In the prepping world, it's not always the big items that fail you, it's the tiny ones. And canning lids are quietly becoming one of the most critical. Number 2, rubbing alcohol. In 2020, rubbing alcohol flew off store shelves and didn't return for months. Now, in 2025, it's disappearing again, but this time without the media buzz. While the world's focus is on rising food prices, one of the most basic medical and sanitation tools is becoming harder to find: isopropyl alcohol. Rubbing alcohol, typically in 70% or 91% concentrations, isn't just for first aid kits. It's a core survival item. It disinfects wounds, sanitizes tools, cleans surfaces, and even acts as a backup fuel or fire starter in some scenarios. And yet, it's missing in more and more stores, especially in larger bottle sizes. As of May 2025, pharmacy chains are reporting limited shipments, especially for store brand 16 Oz and 32 Oz bottles. Supply disruptions are being blamed on ongoing ethanol production cuts and increased industrial demand. The price has quietly crept up too. Where a bottle once cost $1, it now averages $2.50 to $3.50 if you can find it at all. Most households only keep one bottle on hand, maybe two, but in a prolonged emergency, that won't cut it. Whether it's cleaning wounds, disinfecting gear, or sterilizing medical tools, you'll burn through rubbing alcohol faster than you think. Worse, it has no true substitute. Antibacterial soap, hydrogen peroxide, and iodine have their place, but none do what isopropyl alcohol does across the board. And you can't just make more when it runs out. Right now, rubbing alcohol is still available in many stores, but the sizes are shrinking, prices are rising, and shipments are inconsistent. It's the classic case of available until it's not. If you're serious about preparedness, check your cabinet. If you're understocked, fix it now before the quiet disappearance turns into a full-blown shortage. Number 3, heavy-duty aluminum. Foil aluminum foil might seem like a kitchen afterthought, but for seasoned preppers and homesteaders, it's a multi-use essential, and one that's becoming harder to restock in bulk. In particular, heavy-duty aluminum foil is quietly vanishing from many store shelves, especially in larger rolls. What's causing the shortage? As of May 2025, several contributing factors are in play: global aluminum production cuts, higher demand from industrial packaging, and rising costs in manufacturing and shipping. Add to that a consumer shift towards sustainability, leading some brands to cut or discontinue larger foil products altogether, and you've got a squeeze on supply. But here's why you should care. Foil isn't just for wrapping leftovers. In survival scenarios, it becomes a critical tool. You can cook food in it, reflect heat, shield gear from moisture, fashion it into cooking vessels, and even use it in makeshift solar ovens. Some preppers even use foil for low-tech Faraday cages, protecting electronics from EMPs. Regular foil works for light tasks, but heavy duty is what holds up under real stress: campfire cooking, outdoor exposure, or emergency insulation. And that's exactly the version vanishing first. Stores may still carry standard rolls, but buying bulk heavy-duty foil is becoming a warehouse-only or online-only find. Another key point: aluminum foil has no expiration. It doesn't degrade over time, doesn't attract pests, and stores compactly. 1 or 2 extra rolls can last you years and be a major asset in any grid-down, off-grid, or bug-out situation. Prices have also jumped. What used to be a $9 warehouse roll of heavy-duty foil now averages $13, $15, with some areas reporting complete stockouts of the 75-150 SQFT rolls. Don't wait until you're camping over a fire or sealing your only heat source and realize you're out. Aluminum foil, especially the heavy-duty kind, is one of the most practical, durable, and now quietly vanishing household tools. Stock it while you can. Number 4, canned fruit. Canned fruit used to be one of the most accessible, affordable staples in every pantry. But in 2025, that's changing, and fast. From peaches to pineapples, the selection is thinning, prices are climbing, and brand availability is becoming unpredictable. It's not a flashy shortage, but it's real, and it's accelerating. Here's what's happening. As of May 2025, major fruit-producing countries like Thailand, the Philippines, and parts of South America are facing weather-related crop failures and rising transportation costs. Combined with labor shortages and metal packaging inflation, this has created a quiet chokehold on canned fruit production. In U.S. supermarkets, canned peaches, pears, fruit cocktail, and mandarin oranges are either in short supply or limited to specific brands and sizes. What used to cost $1.25 a can is now hovering around $2 to $2.50, and bulk packs are disappearing from warehouse stores. But this isn't just about dessert. Canned fruit provides critical vitamins, especially vitamin C, potassium, and dietary fiber that are hard to replace with shelf-stable alternatives. In a long-term emergency or supply chain failure, that sweet can of peaches becomes more than comfort. It becomes nutrition. The best varieties for preppers: look for fruit canned in 100% juice or light syrup. These offer better nutritional value and fewer added sugars. Pineapple, peaches, and mandarin oranges tend to store the longest, typically up to 2 years unopened, sometimes more. Another factor: canned fruit is a major morale booster. In a diet heavy on grains and canned meats, that burst of sweetness and acidity can elevate mood and appetite, especially in kids and elderly family members. With demand shifting toward healthier, fresh options and rising global instability, canned fruit may soon become a luxury item instead of a pantry staple. Check your pantry. If your stock is low, now is the time to act. Because once canned fruit is gone, there's no quick or cheap replacement. Number 5, manual. Can openers. In a world obsessed with high-tech prepping gear, one of the most overlooked essentials is also one of the simplest: the manual can opener. It's easy to take for granted until the grid goes down, the power's out, or your electric model fails. And now, even this basic tool is starting to disappear quietly from store shelves. Manual can openers used to be everywhere: cheap, reliable, and stocked in every supermarket aisle. But as of May 2025, more stores are offering only a limited selection, and often at noticeably higher prices. Entry-level models that once sold for $5 now range from $8 to $12, with many retailers reporting delays in restocking name-brand options. Why the sudden scarcity? A few factors are at play. More people are cooking at home, including canned goods. Emergency preparedness awareness is driving up demand. Many manufacturers have shifted focus to electric gadgets, leaving fewer manual options in stock. Here's the risk: most households only have one manual can opener, if any. And if it breaks, good luck opening your emergency canned beans or soup with a knife in the dark. Manual can openers are crucial because they're non-electric, no reliance on batteries or outlets. Compact and lightweight, ideal for bug-out bags or car kits. Safe and easy to use, even for kids or elderly users. Critical in any disaster scenario. Where canned goods are the fallback, don't just buy one, buy 2. Have one for the kitchen and one packed away. And test it. Many budget models fail under pressure or go dull quickly. Look for heavy-duty stainless steel designs with comfortable grips and side-cutting blades for long-term reliability. Because when the shelves are bare, your cans are sealed, and your electric opener's dead. It's the $10 tool in your drawer that'll keep you fed. Don't wait. Secure a manual can opener or 2 now, before they quietly vanish like so many essentials already have. Number 6. Baking soda. Baking soda isn't glamorous, but it's one of the most versatile items in any home. It cleans, it deodorizes, it bakes, it even fights heartburn. And yet, this ultra-affordable staple is starting to quietly vanish from shelves in certain regions, and most people don't even notice until they reach for it and find it gone. As of May 2025, supply chain data shows intermittent availability of bulk-sized baking soda, especially from major brands like Arm & Hammer. Warehouse clubs and discount retailers are seeing reduced shipments and higher prices on large boxes, with some suppliers blaming production delays tied to mining operations and packaging material shortages. Baking soda, sodium bicarbonate, is far more than just a baking ingredient. Preppers know it as a non-toxic cleaning agent, toothpaste alternative, fire extinguisher for grease fires, deodorant, antacid, and even a fruit and veggie wash. In grid-down scenarios, baking soda becomes one of the most multifunctional items you can own. And here's the kicker. It's cheap, or at least it used to be. A 1-pound box that cost $0.89 a year ago now averages $1.52, with bulk packs jumping even higher. And because it's shelf-stable for years, indefinitely if stored dry and sealed, there's no downside to stocking up. The average household might go through 1 or 2 boxes a year, but if you're planning to use it for cleaning, hygiene, and food prep in a long-term emergency, that number multiplies fast. One more tip: baking soda is a powerful barter item. Its versatility and non-perishability make it incredibly useful when access to cleaning products, toothpaste, or heartburn meds runs dry. If you haven't checked your baking soda supply lately, do it now. This is one of those everyday basics that disappears quietly and only gets missed when it's needed most. Number 7. Disposable lighters. In a world increasingly driven by technology, fire remains one of the most basic human needs, and few tools deliver it as easily as the humble disposable lighter. Whether it's a simple Bic or a no-name gas station model, these small devices are indispensable in emergency scenarios. But here's the catch: they're starting to disappear quietly, especially in bulk quantities. As of May 2025, more preppers and homesteaders are reporting limited stock of multi-packs and refillable models. Retailers are restricting large purchases due to shipping regulations on flammable items, and overseas production bottlenecks are shrinking the supply chain. What used to be a $1 throwaway tool is now averaging $1.52, and it's not always easy to find reliable brands in store. But the biggest risk? Most people only own 1 or 2 lighters, tossed in a drawer or glove compartment. That's a problem. In a grid-down scenario or natural disaster, you'll need multiple ways to start fires: for cooking, heating, sterilizing water, lighting candles, or just staying warm. Lighters are compact, long-lasting, and require no training. Compared to matches or ferro rods, they're easier to use in cold, wet, or low-light conditions. A single lighter, used sparingly, can start hundreds of fires, and they're far easier to carry than most other fire-starting tools. Want to go to the next level? Look for Bic brand lighters, which have a stronger reputation for durability and leak resistance. Better yet, stock a few refillable butane lighters with extra fuel cans. Just remember that fuel has a shelf life and must be stored carefully. Disposable lighters are also excellent barter items. In a prolonged emergency, fire becomes currency, and a working lighter could be worth far more than its price tag. They don't expire, they're easy to store, and they're absolutely essential. Check your kits, bug-out bags, glove boxes, and kitchen drawers. If you don't have a stash of lighters, you're gambling with a survival basic that's quietly slipping away. Number 8. White vinegar. White vinegar is one of those items you assume will always be there, until it's not. But over the past year, supply chains have shifted, prices have crept up, and in many stores, large containers of distilled white vinegar are becoming harder to find. If you use it regularly or rely on it for emergency preparedness, now is the time to stock up. Why is this happening? As of May 2025, rising demand for vinegar-based cleaning, natural disinfecting, and homesteading uses has combined with corn shortages, a base ingredient for vinegar fermentation, to create regional supply disruptions. Larger jugs, like the 1-gallon or 2-gallon sizes, are particularly hard to come by in discount stores or warehouse clubs. But this isn't just a kitchen problem. Vinegar is one of the most multifunctional survival liquids you can own. It disinfects surfaces, removes odors, unclogs drains, tenderizes meat, preserves food, pickling, and even relieves insect bites and skin irritation. You can use it for laundry, pet care, and cleaning products. It's the Swiss Army knife of liquids. Even more importantly, vinegar doesn't spoil. It has an indefinite shelf life if stored properly. That makes it a top-tier item for any prepper pantry, long-lasting, affordable, and endlessly useful. A single gallon, which once sold for under $2, now averages $3.50 to $4.50, depending on region and brand. And with increasing emphasis on natural cleaning products, demand continues to grow, even outside the prepper world. For anyone living off-grid, managing a garden, raising chickens, or making DIY cleaners, white vinegar is mission critical. And it's one of the first items to vanish in crisis cycles, quietly swept up by the aware, while others are still focused on toilet paper and pasta. Don't assume you'll always be able to grab a jug. Add a few gallons now, before another quiet shortage becomes a loud regret. Number 9. Hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide is one of those items that quietly sits in your cabinet until the day you really need it. But more and more people are discovering that their local stores are out of stock, limiting quantities, or replacing standard bottles with diluted or off-brand versions. In 2025, hydrogen peroxide is becoming harder to find, and that's a problem for any serious preparer. As of May 2025, many pharmacies and grocery stores have cut back on shelf space for hydrogen peroxide, replacing it with branded antiseptics or alcohol wipes. Why? Supply chain instability in pharmaceutical-grade hydrogen production, rising demand for industrial peroxide use, and reduced domestic bottling operations have quietly shrunk availability. What makes hydrogen peroxide so valuable? It's more than a wound cleaner. It serves as a topical antiseptic, oral rinse, surface disinfectant, toothbrush and razor sanitizer, mold remover, and even a vegetable wash. It's one of the cheapest and most versatile first aid and cleaning products you can own, especially when resources are scarce. Standard 3% hydrogen peroxide has a shelf life of about 2 years unopened and roughly 6 months once opened. But when stored in a cool, dark place, preferably in its original brown bottle, it can last longer. For preppers, that makes it an ideal rotational item. Stock it, label it, and replace it before the expiration hits. Even better, peroxide is dirt cheap when you can find it. A 16 Oz bottle used to cost around $0.89. Now, prices are creeping up to $1.50 to $2 in many areas, with some stores completely out of stock or only carrying smaller, overpriced versions. Hydrogen peroxide may not be flashy, but it's a quiet giant in emergency hygiene and health. Most people won't think to stock it until infections, toothaches, or sanitation issues make it too late. Add a few extra bottles now while it's still cheap, legal, and available, because once it's gone, you'll wish you had more. Number 10. Yeast. During the 2020 lockdowns, yeast was one of the first things to disappear from shelves. And now, in 2025, it's happening again. But this time, it's more subtle. Fewer brands, smaller packs, higher prices. Baking yeast, whether dry, active, or instant, is becoming another pantry essential, quietly slipping through the cracks. As of May 2025, domestic yeast production is still recovering from pandemic-era disruptions. Many major producers have scaled back distribution, focusing on bulk supply to commercial bakeries. For consumers, that means fewer options in grocery stores and sporadic availability online, especially for multi-pack or bulk yeast jars. Yeast isn't just a baking convenience. It's a critical tool for long-term self-reliance. In a world where store-bought bread might be too expensive or unavailable, yeast becomes the gateway to homemade bread, rolls, pizza dough, flatbreads, and more. And in survival scenarios, it plays a major role in maintaining morale, nutrition, and food independence. A single 7G packet of yeast can make 2 to 3 loaves of bread, but most households don't keep more than 1 or 2 packets on hand, if any. And if you're planning for grid down or food shortage situations, that's nowhere near enough. Shelf life is decent. Unopened, dry yeast can last 2 years or more when stored in a cool, dark place. Once opened, keep it in the freezer to extend its potency. And yes, yeast can also be frozen in airtight containers to preserve its activity. Cost has crept up significantly, Where you could once get a 3-pack for under $1.50, you're now looking at $2.50, $3, and larger jars have jumped over $8, $10. For serious preppers, storing yeast isn't just about baking. It's about food sovereignty. And in a pinch, it's a barter item with high value in any community reliant on basic staples. Grab it now, while it's still easy to overlook. Because when flour gets restocked and yeast doesn't, people will realize they can't bake their way out. Number 11, matches. In the age of rechargeable everything, matches might seem outdated. But when the power's out, batteries are dead, and your last lighter just ran dry, a simple match can mean the difference between cold and comfort. Yet surprisingly, matches, especially strike anywhere and waterproof types, are quietly disappearing from shelves in 2025. Most people don't realize it, but matches are no longer a high-demand item in mainstream retail. As a result, many stores have reduced their inventory or phased them out entirely, focusing instead on electric lighters and fire-starting gadgets. Some chains have removed Strike Anywhere matches altogether due to shipping and safety restrictions, making them harder to find than ever. And while you might still spot boxes of paper kitchen matches at dollar stores, these often fail in outdoor or damp conditions. What serious preppers need are wooden stick matches, survival-grade waterproof matches, or storm-proof options, the kinds that light when wet, burn longer, and actually work in real-world emergencies. As of May 2025, even online suppliers are seeing erratic stock on bulk match sets and higher-end survival match kits. Prices have inched up too. A box that once sold for $1 is now closer to $2 or more, and high-performance survival matches can go for $8 to $12 per tin. Why does this matter? Because matches are one of the few fire-starting tools that require zero fuel, zero charge, and zero maintenance. They're lightweight, compact, and easy to stash, whether it's in a glove box, go bag, or emergency pantry. For redundancy and fire starting, matches are a non-negotiable backup. They also make excellent barter items in a crisis, small, essential, and universally recognized. Check your kits, check your drawers. If you're relying on one soggy box from 3 years ago, it's time to restock. Matches may be old school, but when tech fails, they still spark survival. Number 12. Hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide is one of those items that quietly sits in your cabinet until the day you really need it. But more and more people are discovering that their local stores are out of stock, limiting quantities, or replacing standard bottles with diluted or off-brand versions. In 2025, hydrogen peroxide is becoming harder to find, and that's a problem for any serious preparer. As of May 2025, many pharmacies and grocery stores have cut back on shelf space for hydrogen peroxide, replacing it with branded antiseptics or alcohol wipes. Why? Supply chain instability and pharmaceutical-grade hydrogen production, rising demand for industrial peroxide use, and reduced domestic bottling operations have quietly shrunk availability. What makes hydrogen peroxide so valuable? It's more than a wound cleaner. It serves as a topical antiseptic, oral rinse, surface disinfectant, toothbrush and razor sanitizer, mold remover, and even a vegetable wash. It's one of the cheapest and most versatile first aid and cleaning products you can own, especially when resources are scarce. Standard 3% hydrogen peroxide has a shelf life of about 2 years unopened and roughly 6 months once opened. But when stored in a cool, dark place, preferably in its original brown bottle, it can last longer. For preppers, that makes it an ideal rotational item. Stock it, label it, and replace it before the expiration hits. Even better, peroxide is dirt cheap, when you can find it. A 16 Oz bottle used to cost around $0.89. Now prices are creeping up to $1.50 to $2 in many areas, with some stores completely out of stock or only carrying smaller, overpriced versions. Hydrogen peroxide may not be flashy, but it's a quiet giant in emergency hygiene and health. Most people won't think to stock it until infections, toothaches, or sanitation issues make it too late. Add a few extra bottles now while it's still cheap, legal, and available, because once it's gone, you'll wish you had more. These 12 everyday items don't make headlines, but they're disappearing right in front of us, quietly, gradually, and by the time most people notice, it's already too late. The truth is, prepping isn't always about big gear or bulk food. Sometimes it's the simple things, the lighters, the yeast, the can opener, that hold everything together when systems break down. Now's your moment to act without the crowd. Scan your shelves, make your list, grab the items while they're still there, because once they're gone, they're gone. If you learned something new today, hit that like button. It helps more. People get this info before the shortages hit. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next drop. And in the comments, tell us. Which of these items surprised you most? Where are you watching from? Let's build this prepper. Network together. Stay alert. Stay ready. Stay ahead.